Welcome back to Yang Daily. We're probably going to run a bit long today, so we better get to it. Today, of course, is MLK Day. Reverend Wendy Hamilton released an extremely moving video on MLK's fight for universal basic income to eliminate poverty in America, what that would mean for families, and how Andrew Yang is continuing the fight for that dream today. It includes the quote from Martin Luther King Jr. "It is a cruel jest to say to a bootless man that he ought to lift himself up by his own bootstraps." Now, one of the answer, it seems to me, is a guaranteed annual income, a guaranteed minimum income for all people and all families of our country. End quote. As you may recall, there was a discussion yesterday on what hashtag to trend today. Most people were pushing for something like UBI for MLK, but Humanity for Yang decided not to run it due to others saying it would be insensitive to Dr. King, and I feel compelled to express my own opinion on this. Ever since Dr. King's death in this country, we have celebrated his life, and yet we have ignored what he stood and fought for. We have made him a symbol for human rights, and yet we have stripped him of his legacy of economic rights that he died fighting for. We have turned him into a figurehead that we can point to on one day of the year, then go back to ignoring for the rest of it. And this is the greatest disrespect. Martin Luther King Jr. was a man who saw injustice, faced it head on, and refused to give in. If you want to truly honor him, then follow his example. Carry forth his legacy, fight for what he fought for. Take his dream of a guaranteed basic income and carry it to the finish line that was denied to him. Because talk is cheap. It's time to act. Bernice King today tweeted a video clip of her father calling for the civil rights movement to fight for a guaranteed income with a simple caption, "My father speaking about a guaranteed income," along with the hashtags economic justice and end poverty. The campaign is looking for a volunteer event moderator to edit and approve events on the Mobilize page of yang2020.com and for volunteer callers to contact new event hosts and prepare them for events. If you'd like to help the team, register on the Become an Event Moderator event or use the link in the podcast description. The campaign also released a helpful video of everything you need to know about caucusing in Iowa. Check it out if you live in Iowa and spread it around to any Yang gang you know who do live in Iowa. Links below. On the events front, we've got a bunch of Iowa town halls tomorrow in Mason City, Forest City, Waverly, and Northwood. More signature gathering all over New York. There will be a table set up in the Students Activity Center of University of South Carolina, Aiken from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. tomorrow. Greenville phone banking and canvassing is still going on and will be until February 1st, and there are phone banking events with training and assistance for new bankers in Rapids, Iowa from now until February 3rd, and in Columbia, South Carolina until January 24th. There are also canvassing phone banking hybrid events where you will have support for either activity in Dubuque, Iowa from now until February 3rd, in Waterloo, Iowa until January 31st, in Mason City until January 31st, in Decorah until January 31st, in Cedar Rapids until February 3rd, in Council Bluffs until February 3rd, and in Grinnell until February 3rd. Just go to yang2020.com/events and set the search for tomorrow to find all of those events. And please sign up for whatever you possibly can because we need everyone on canvassing and phone banking if we're going to make this happen, Yang Gang. Every one of us can afford a few minutes a day on the phone at the very least to secure our future. Nia Amani put out a music video today on her YouTube channel that focuses on the statistics of being Black in America, how the wealth for African American families is only decreasing, and how only one candidate is willing to directly counter that by putting money into their hands, as Dr. King wished. It's a great song and a powerful message, and I suggest you check it out in the links below. Yesterday evening, prolific actor and comedian Michael Rappaport gave his endorsement for Andrew Yang, saying, quote, "I'm officially Yang Gang." Yang seems to have also picked up a soft endorsement from American hip-hop duo Eric B. and Rakim of the album Paid in Full, who tweeted today, "Make America think harder, put the needle on the record, and move forward, deal with it." The album, Paid in Full, is regarded by many as a benchmark in the golden age of hip-hop, with the internal rhyme setting a standard for the genre. Continuing the trend, 80s hip-hop band Fat Boys today endorsed Yang following a video clip of Yang singing their pizza song at a buffet. One of the first rap groups to release full-length rap albums, they released 7 albums, 4 of which went gold, worked with the Beach Boys, and appeared in 3 feature films. Not a bad win for the campaign. Manny Ortega endorsed Yang today on Twitter and announced he will be volunteering for the campaign. We also got a soft endorsement from Emmy winner David Schuster tweeting, quote, "His candidacy has added vitality, new ideas, and energy to the Dem nomination race. He has lifted the field and run a great campaign. Plus, his business arguments for M4A stand out as one of the most compelling in 2020. #respect. Thank you, David." With a link to their Brown and Black Presidential Forum event today, Vice News tweeted, quote, "If we listen to the teachings of Dr. Martin Luther King, he advocated for a guaranteed income for all Americans." It's good to see some people taking note of this. If you want to see what Bennett, Joe, Pete, Delaney, Klobuchar, Bernie, Warren, and Yang had to say at the event today, you'll find the link below. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm sure at least Andrew's portion is worth watching. Fast Company's Ariane Cohen wrote an article titled "Evelyn Yang's Harrowing Story Reveals Why 90% of Sexual Assault in Medicine Goes Unreported." The piece details how a doctor's role of authority and patient's uncertainty regarding what's appropriate during medical procedures make victims far less likely to report attacks. It quotes Evelyn in saying that she thought herself the type to throw a chair and run out, but when it actually happened, she didn't tell anyone until eventually telling her husband and later the world. The author also points out that most women do not have the means to take a case to court, as Evelyn attempted to do. CNBC's Yelena Zanova put out an article today on how Yang would handle an economic recession. Yang said that he would empower consumers to kickstart the economy in a recession by putting more power into their hands, creating a trickle-up economy. The article also contains some seemingly outdated information on how UBI stacks with the welfare programs, and mention of his recent endorsements of Donald Glover and Chappelle, as well as his fundraising numbers. More interestingly, the article page included a rather interesting lightning round of questions with Andrew, where he revealed that he thinks the stock market is overvalued, a slight recession in 2020 is very likely, Facebook should fact-check the ads they allow. He picked Jewel CEO as the worst job over WeWork CEO because, quote, "WeWork didn't kill anyone," confirmed the threat of Huawei is real, and that he prefers Instagram to TikTok, Star Wars to Star Trek, and Apple to Android. I suppose the last one shouldn't be surprising, considering how concerned he is about automation. The Gazette released an article today on Yang bringing new ideas to the table. It started off by acknowledging that his background of entrepreneurship gives him a different perspective than those cloistered in the political sphere for the last 30 years, though they perpetuate the mistaken label of calling him a tech entrepreneur, missing that he spent his career forming nonprofits for charity and apprenticeship programs to direct the brightest minds of the next generation away from Wall Street and toward entrepreneurship. They mention how Yang is the only one talking about automation, how it's shifting jobs away from rural areas into metropolises, and how it's only picking up speed, with experts predicting that as much as 33% of jobs will be automated within the next 12 years, and new job creation will not be able to keep pace. UBI comes up, of course. Yang said that the message is resonating in Iowa and that it's invigorating and inspiring to be bringing this message to the people, and that he's having fun on the trail and feels those who attend his events are as well. Quote, "There's a lot of joy to this campaign. If I can't have a blast trying to make my country a better place and having millions of Americans get excited about that vision, then frankly, I would think that I was doing something wrong. It's an incredibly exciting opportunity for us all to actually rewrite the rules of this economy to work for us and our families. That's what the Iowans I talk to are eager about, trying to actually move the entire country forward and solve the problems of the 21st century rather than continue to look backward." End quote. The New York Times Opinion tweeted an article from August written by their columnist Charles Blow, poor guy, with the title, "Yearning for More Yang," and the caption, "He is a nonconformist in the best way to our political pageantry." The tweet held the quote, "Yang is a futurist among conventionalists and Bolsheviks." Unfortunately, the paywall kept me out of the article, but from those quotes, it seems quite complimentary. If the New York Times is trying to get me to subscribe, that's exactly the sort of stuff they should be producing. For any of you with a subscription, link is below. Today's policy in lieu of UBI, will be Yang's commitment to federally fund a body camera for every police officer in the country to ensure accountability and proper procedure, protecting both officers and citizens alike. He would also fund training for all officers in the latest techniques, reward departments for efficacy with positive community feedback, ban the distribution of surplus military equipment to police, invest in new non-lethal weaponry, and mandate that all guns be equipped with handprint signature handles to ensure that weapons cannot be used by anyone other than the owner, and eliminate the case of "he reached for my gun." Today's Yang Daily 10 task is to just share the heck out of the Reverend Hamilton video because it's just that good. And that's our Yang News for today. So check events in your area, sign up to be an event moderator, check out the Black and Brown Forum video and Nia's music video, watch Hamilton's moving MLK video, read Dr. King's letter from a Birmingham jail, get a copy of his book, find out what he stood for, and ask yourself, what am I doing now to carry on his legacy, and what more could I do? The first thing you can do is phone bank every day to get UBI on the ballot. Dr. King's dream is our dream now. Make it a reality.